Yeah, a little entrance. Yeah, I've always wanted to do that, and I'm sure the other team was looking at me like, "What in the world is this doing?" But I've always dreamt about coming out on the field, and cueing the music, and then getting the guys to run out in front of me and kind of cueing them, and then taking the field. And I texted the team this morning. I was like, "Hey, I always wanted to do this. Might think it's corny. I don't know. I want to do it. Let's do it." So they were like, "Yeah, man, let's do it. Let's pump me up." So it fired me up. That's kind of what the goal of it was, to get the crowd engaged. And nothing's cooler. I mean, when I used to watch, besides the fact that you're losing when this happens, but when Trevor Hoffman used to walk in the game, or some of those big closers, Smoltz or Kimbrel or Mariano, when you get to see that, that's a cool thing, man. So I don't know. It was fun.
So is this going to become a thing? Like, since you went out and pitched as well as you did, will you do this?
Have to wait and see. Fans show up on time.
In terms of your stuff, it looked like vintage Wainwright. Is this as good as you felt on the mound in a long time, or in how long would you say?
Yeah, I mean it's similar stuff the way I pitched in spring training, with a little more adrenaline. Obviously, I mean that's what I was expecting. I think I went through a little body shock in Pittsburgh. I was used to pitching in Florida, man. And tried to pump myself up for 32, but I don't know what happened, but I knew coming into today I needed to be in a better place mentally, and when I'm good mentally, I'm usually pretty good physically. So just tried to give myself a better chance to succeed out there with being very focused and making good pitches.
In terms of attacking the strike zone, that shows confidence that that you have command, right? That's what.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's the first game, you can't walk people in the big leagues. And the first game I came out a little tentative and got in some bad counts and walked a few hitters, and of course they scored. I mean, when you walk hitters in the big leagues, they're gonna score a lot of times. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned watching ball all year in 2011 when I couldn't pitch from Tommy John surgery. The thing that I noticed was when pitchers went out and didn't walk people, they hardly gave up runs. I watched Roy Halladay, I watched Carp, and I watched Cliff Lee, and those great pitchers go out there and just pound the strike zone and get hitters after hitter after hitter out and not walk anybody. I mean, that's the key to the game.
So on a day like today, where it is warmer, better grip, was it a little slick in Pittsburgh? I know you didn't make any excuses. Was that kind of?
Yeah, it's a little slick, but big league pitchers got to make adjustments. And the other. Archer had to pitch at the same ball I had to pitch with. I think it comes down to mentally being in a better spot, being prepared to go out and confidence in my ability to go out and dominate. And then that's a good building game to go forward.
At the point you were out of the game, can you enjoy Hicks, Machado, the theater of that, him versus him? It seemed like Machado kind of acknowledged and tipped his cap even when it was over.
Yeah, that was fun. Machado, I tell you what, man, he is a tough out. He is a tough out and a great third baseman. They've got that lineup over there is very deep. They've done a lot of things over there to improve that team. That team grinds out at bats. They make the pitcher work. They did it all series to us. They got our pitch counts up. Tried to get good pitches in the middle of the plate to hit. Didn't swing a lot. I mean, there's 4 or 5 very, very established veteran hitters over there and a couple of young good pieces to go with it. It's a good lineup. So Machado, I mean, when you see a guy who has the ability, what was it, 1-2 or 2-2, Jordan threw a 102-mile-an-hour backdoor, perfect knee-high paint sinker away, and he spoiled it by just fouling it off. It's a pretty talented hitter.
The Padres were able to spoil a lot of pitches from Walker and Flaherty earlier in the series and force a lot of deep counts that led to walks. What were you able to take from that and apply to your benefit today?
Well, I mean, it's something that I knew going into today that they were going to grind out at bats, and they just do a good job of fouling pitches off and seeing 2 or 3 pitches each at bat that normally maybe they would have already been out, but they're waiting on their pitch. They're very disciplined up there. It's a very good team over there. I'll tell you, I don't know anything about their pitchers, but I know their hitters are very talented from 1 to 9. And they had a couple of good quality hitters on the bench today in Myers and Frenchie Cordero that even make that lineup even deeper.
Schultz said that you pitched with a typical Wainwright chip on your shoulder today. Is that part of that mental preparation you were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely, yep. And that's the way you're going to see me the rest of the year, man. There's just to get the most out of my ability. I've always going to be on the verge of fist pumping strike 2 calls. You know, I mean that's where I need to be mentally, and so that's where I'm going to be from now on.
Along those lines, I know you struck out 9 guys, so I don't know if you remember every one of them. The Tatis strikeout, it almost seemed like 58 feet into that pitch, you knew it was going to be a strike, then you started walking off. Do you remember that feeling?
Yeah, there's been a few times in my career where, as it's leaving the hand, I know, you know, I've thrown a really quality pitch, and might have been one of those times, huh?
It's kind of like a